Hey folks, Steven, MTarget. We're here. We're going to talk about Dota 2. Been a hectic couple days. Not in a bad way, but in a kind of bad way.
So both good and bad. We'll put it that way, because we've got good news because it is roster shakeup season. It's Valve official open season time.
Yeah, it does give us something to talk
about.
Bad
news: people screwed up.
Yeah, people. Well,
unfortunately, those two things are currently linked. I say currently because y'all know something's gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Galaxy Battles continues to be pretty much functionally dead. But anyway, so biggest news, as you probably saw from the headline, Universe, former EG offlaner, is now not a free agent. And he got picked up. I'll come out right out and say it. And he got picked up by Fnatic. And that is a really big pickup for Fnatic, who already were kind of looking like they might have turned the corner in December. They had a very rough start to the season, partly because of the rise of Mineski, partly because there were some growing pains from having a very unique new team. But they started turning the corner in December, and now they're adding Universe, bumping Ohio, who is a long-tenured member, or was a long-tenured member of Fnatic. He is bumped. Universe is now their offlaner. The current lineup stands as EE in the number 1 spot, then Abed, Universe, DJ, Pylai Die, and Excalibur subbing whenever they need him.
And I feel a little bad for Excalibur here because he's kind of dangling on, and he's a good player. He just doesn't fit this style.
No. Well, he's an okay player.
I think that he has a legitimate claim to a tier 1.5 team somewhere. I don't know where that is. I think that if he gets, and part of that is he's just gonna have to put in the reps. He's gonna have to play in the minor leagues or whatever. And I think that's the real problem. Is that being a sub for a tier 1 team, especially in Dota, is not as good as being a main player on a tier 2 team, because you're not getting in the reps. Anyways, with that said,
Universe.
I was thinking about this, and it's like, oh man, that sucks, because I've been a huge EG Universe fan since I got into Dota. Universe is the reason that I was an EG fan for the most part. So take that as you will with Universe leaving and all that other stuff with EG. And when he went to Secret and came back, it was just kind of this more of the same. And so he's really been on the same style of roster since he started playing for Evil Geniuses all those years ago. And now he's playing with Fnatic. And this feels like it could actually be a good shakeup for him, a good chance to try things a little bit differently. Really kind of get out of American Dota for a bit too, which I think is always a bit of a refreshing change.
Probably not a bad thing for him.
And I think that this might be what Fnatic needed to put up in the top. Not saying that Ohio was bad. Again, I really like Ohio, and I'm sure that he'll get picked up by another SEA team. But
yeah, Ohio, he's quite good.
Yeah, he's also very greedy offlaner. So this meta doesn't support that, and a lot of other things like that. So I think that Universe being able to play, position 5 off lane, or being able to play position 1 off lane, shows that he's versatile enough to fit whatever the meta demands of him, and whatever the team demands of him.
I'd say that as a whole, this is an upgrade for Fnatic, but not necessarily a huge upgrade. But I would agree that Universe is just kind of more of a team player than Ohio. In game, I should say. He's a good player, but I do think that Universe just kind of fits what they want out of an offlaner right now better.
Yeah. And again, if Universe comes up for, being a free agent,
yeah, I doubt that Fnatic's the only team that gave him a good look.
I guess a good NFL analogy would be if Gronkowski went up for free trade.
Yeah.
Or to be a free agent. Everybody, it doesn't even matter if he wouldn't fit in your roster necessarily. The dude's put up numbers good enough and consistently enough that you want him on your roster for at least a little bit.
It's a very good comparison because it's also a position that doesn't necessarily need good numbers to be valuable.
Also true. Very true. I can think of some tight ends.
That was a very good analogy. That's a very good analogy. I'm giving you full points for that. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure he got a number of phone calls and a number of Twitter DMs and a number of Skype DMs.
Certainly deserved them.
Oh yeah, and I think that Fnatic is a good fit. He is a good fit for Fnatic, and
Yep.
there's a lot to like about that.
I honestly think that if Complexity hadn't picked up Monkeys Forever before Universe, or it was about the same time, so they would have already had to have been in talks with Monkeys. I could have seen them grabbing him too, although I don't think that Universe and BSJ necessarily would have gelled well. Although, I mean, BSJ is kind of an EETS type player, so I'm interested to see how things go there. So, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
I'm sorry, VGJ, not Complexity.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's not right. Complexity. Or not not Complexity, VGJ. I'm sorry, I'm looking at like 4 other things, and Complexity just moved to Texas, and all that stuff is still all over my feed. And gotta say, Moo's got a really cute cat. I will give them full points for working that cat for the social media purposes.
Full points for the cat.
Full points for the cat. Just the cat, though, not the rest of the team.
Yeah, though they did just qualify for a major, so that's good for them. They get full points for that,
and
too.
A minor in the same day.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, Complexity, they regret it sometimes. Some days they have these awfully, horrifically long days, but they make them work, and they own it. For the most part, they don't blame other groups for their own mistakes in terms of scheduling.
Yeah, and just random aside, Complexity been one of the better, or one of the good stories of this season so far. Yep. Just because they had a very rough 2016, 2017 season. Yeah, they had some ups, but mostly they had downs. And getting that old new roster back together, or together, kind of, having their roster squared away has really been good for them. And they've been qualifying from a lot of different tournaments, and they actually have points on the board in the DPC. So there's a lot to like about Complexity. And depending on how things end up shaking out long term with EG, they might just be the best team in North America.
Definitely. And again, there's so many questions right now, which is why I like this time in Dota. Because you've got teams that are, like Evil Geniuses, that were starting to look a little bit cleaner. That's all other things aside. I think that Evil Geniuses finally started to get their shit together, but they maybe they jumped the gun, maybe they didn't. Those are questions for another day, or really never. Because that's kind of OBE at this point. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But speaking of performance, kind of bringing it back, like you mentioned, Complexity. Another team that I don't know how to feel about them, but they're certainly a good story is Optic. And that stack that PPD was making. And if I was their manager, if I was in charge of social media or whatever for Optic, I would be building the hell out of a rivalry between Optic and all of North America.
I have a similar thought.
Like, play the heel, play the revenge story. I don't care what, pick a WWE term, or a fighting game, or a fighting scene term, because PPD and Zai left Evil Geniuses for whatever reason, and there's so much good story there that you could use to really, it's Optic, so you really don't need to hype yourself up that much, but at the same time, it's Optic Dota, so it's totally out of left field, so build that shit up.
Yeah, and the reason we're talking about Optic Gaming is because there was, I guess this would be an appropriate time to label it "quote unquote" drama.
Yeah.
The not dramatic
Twitter
part,
beef.
Serious, angry, bad part was that the ESL 1 Katowice North American qualifiers ended up getting a pretty big kick in the balls when the PGL Bucharest minor, right? Or the Bucharest major, excuse me.
Yes.
Their qualifiers had overlapping schedules, resulting in different teams having different issues with how their games lined up during the day. And that resulted in the disqualification of Optic Gaming as well as Animal Planet. Those are two of the North American teams that are competing, and we're expected to do reasonably well. They're not, a random stack. They are teams with actual.
Animal Planet almost does.
That's a conversation for later this episode.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so they got disqualified, and that sucks.
Yep.
That really sucks. You want to have your tournament not get blown up.
And even at the time that it was happening, you could tell that there was a little bit of adminship error and also a scheduling error on the part of both of those teams.
Yeah.
So, you got to own the fact that if there are going to be two tournaments on the same day, you should really go, okay, which one of these is more important to us, and consider dropping out of the other one. But I can write about that later. But so anyways,
in the case of Animal Planet, AUI, another former EG player, technically. Well, not technically. He's a former.
Technically, dude won TI with them. So
yeah, he won TI. So he's as EG as you can be, or as XEG as you can be. But he posted basically saying, yeah, it was partly our bad. It was partly, finger wagging at VGJ.Storm. But
not a whole lot, though.
Only a little bit. Of it, but he did.
I mean, it was a little bit of like, yeah, they look like the bad guy here. But the big issue is he said this in his statement, as well as a bunch of other TOs, said the admins should never be putting a team in a position to accept or deny a forfeit.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, you're putting the game in their hands. And quite frankly, if I'm a manager and you tell me, hi, would you like to give your team a free win and let them rest for another 2 hours before they play another game?
I mean, I'm saying yes.
In their right mind would say no.
Yeah, I would say yes. You'd be a bad manager if you said no. Fuck the integrity of the tournament. I want to win. You play to win the game.
Exactly.
And if you can if you can play without, if you can play without, without playing the game, that's even better. The flip side,
especially if you get to keep the winnings.
Yes. The flip side to AUI having a fairly a fair assessment of it was PPD just going off the chain, basically. Had a little bit of a Twitter freak out. Ripped into VGJ.Storm, ripped into KBBQ.
Jack.
Yeah, Jack pops up on pretty much every broadcast these days.
Yep, and he is their manager. So
yeah, he is their manager. On top of the fact
that the bad guy so hard, and it was kind of funny, quite frankly, because wow, what a bunch of bad guys, and I don't remember how many expletives were in it, but they're awful. Hope you enjoy your free win, and you guys are awful for.
I will.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, they accepted a forfeit.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if I could get Jesus Christ, if you think about if it's you yourself and you're playing a ranked game of Dota, and somebody abandons, do you have one of your teammates abandon too, so you can play a nice even 4v4, or do you just take your free 25 MMR? And
if you had to think about that for more than about 2 seconds.
Nobody thought about that. Lying. They either said, yeah, I'll take the MMR, or they're lying. Nobody thought about it. You take the MMR. And the comparison I made on Twitter was, let's say the NFL called up the Atlanta Falcons, said, hey, you don't have to play in the playoffs this week. Do you just want that free win? They are throwing a party over that.
I mean, literally the Steelers and the Patriots, when they both got buys, threw parties when they knew that they had locked it in. The players, the org threw many parties for the players, because obviously you don't want to go in too crazy because got to play. But I mean, the cities were super excited because they understand just how dangerous it is to play in that first week.
Yep.
So everybody else is going, hell yeah, and then esports is going, but my integrity. Except at the same time, shut the hell up.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real blame to there's no blame that should be pinned on VGJ.Storm. If you get offered a free win, you take it. It's flat out. That applies to all sports.
It does. And here's the thing that I thought was so funny is I'm sitting here, and as some people may know, I used to work in Smite for a long time, and Smite actually had a game in season 2 when they did their second season of a pro league, where a team had somebody that disconnected. I think he lost his internet. This may have actually been a DDoS. I don't remember. There were some allegations about that around that same time. And they used up their 5 minutes or 10 minutes of time. I forget how much it was. And the opposing team offered to let them use their pause time. So they gave up their own pause time to wait for this player to come back. Player comes back. Guess who wins the game?
The ones who were being generous?
The team that should have played down a player for 5 minutes. So the team that said, we'll be the good sports, we'll wait for him, we'll give you our time. And after that game, Hi-Rez instituted a rule that said you are not allowed to do that. Because everybody was saying, what are you going to do? You know, you want to, they either have to risk giving it up or they have to look like the bad guy, you know, in that kind of situation, or with forfeitures or whatever. So when we know that in Smite, or even like our tier 2, tier 3 tournaments, where it was like, hey, do you guys want to wait, or do you guys want to, you know, take the forfeit? You don't ask that. You just say, congratulations, you won, move on. Yeah, which I was doing in tier 3 Smite tournaments. So it's a tier 3 game. It's a tier 3 of that.
Yeah, that's a niche of a niche.
Yep.
But VGJ.Storm did kind of get burned by what you just discussed. The fact that they did have any kind of responsibility in how that tournament played out. That is not something that they should be burdened with. They should be burdened with playing the game of Dota 2, winning or losing, and that's it. And having them, you know, be put in that position where they are inevitably going to either be hurt by this or have to take a bit of a PR hit. Like they shouldn't have had to do that. They should have just been told, like you said, you win, done. That's it.
And yes, be mad at the admins. They screwed up. But also, this is time where Valve needs to probably make a statement. And teams need to realize, Valve needs to say, you need to consider your qualifying tournaments more carefully.
Yeah, this is Valve. The fact that nobody has really taken a shot at Valve over this is pretty bad. Or no, I shouldn't say pretty bad. It's completely expected, but it's not something that should be the case. Valve is outsourcing their tournament to a number of different competing tournament organizers.
Of course they're going to overlap.
Yeah, of course they're going to overlap. Of course there are going to be issues, and the only real oversight, the only real potential form of oversight with this is frickin' Valve, and they haven't done anything. They let this happen, and then they didn't do anything at the time, and they haven't done anything since. That shouldn't be acceptable. And I probably rub some people the wrong way with how I constantly say this is Valve's issue.
And to be perfectly clear, I don't agree with him all the time, but I do think that you've got that Steven's got valid points. And, you know, I think that they're worth being heard. I'm not, you know, it's your show anyway. So if I disagree, you're just going to click hang up and keep going on your own. But no, the point being is that I think
you can just take your disagreements and then shove them up your ass.
I mean, I was going to say I can take my disagreements and, you know, voice them well. But, you know, point being is that I agree with you here that we need to say, you know, Valve needs to own a little bit more because they're doing a whole pro circuit thing.
Yeah.
With that said, I really do think that right now it's on the admins and on team managers for admins for not communicating properly, and on team managers for not doing their jobs. And if you are a team like Optic, you have no excuse for not having a manager. So I don't want to hear it if PPD says, well, we have to play for ourselves and manage it. No, screw you. You have a multi-million, if not billion-dollar company backing you right now.
Multi-million. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Well, no, because they've got Optic has several venture funds, or not, but big investment firms that are behind them. So,
but anyways,
I mean, they bought an Overwatch and League and a League of Legends spot. They got a lot of money. Anyways, well, I mean, so point being is Optic can afford to buy you a manager.
They can afford $15,000 a year or whatever managers get paid these days.
Yeah. I'm gonna actually check if they have a manager registered on.
Yeah,
they don't. I mean, but then again, you don't have to register one, so
yeah. But Optic Gaming.
Oh wait, no, they do Kodiak Destroyer, so it's his fault.
Yes, it's your fault, Kodiak Destroyer.
Get your shit We're using that now. That's his new name.
What is it?
It's Kodiak Schroyer.
Oh, Kodiak Destroyer is his handle.
It is now. Whether or not it is now.
It's your fault, Mr. Destroyer. But yeah, so get your shit together, Optic and PPD. Just goddamn reel it in. And as you mentioned, if one of these teams needs to just use this to build your brand as being the asshole team of North America, whether that is Optic, PPD.
We were talking about this before we went on air. How Optic has all of these great rivalries. I mean, all of North America does, quite frankly. And Complexity did it for a while. They were like this kind of heel / plucky
underdog,
climbing, whatever underdog thing, and it worked. But as far as like Optic goes, like, let me pull it back up really quickly.
I would also say VGJ.Storm could decide to play the bad guys off of this.
Yeah, they could definitely play the heel over this, and Jack totally could. But you've got Zai and PPD, who PPD got kicked from EG, and then Zai left them. Then you've got Pycat, who's Mr. Old War Hero practically, and then you have CC&C, the asshole mid laner, who he unfortunately is cleaning his act up.
Yeah, that does.
It's a good guy, but in terms of for the meme, it's not necessarily great. And then you have 33, who, if you guys don't know who he is, he's a European guy that plays position 4, and he has some of his old handles I will not talk about, but let's just say he has quite the racist past when it comes to his usernames. So
they are a team with a lot of hateability. Long story short.
Especially if they play it right. I don't know. Like, I should note that being a heel is a difficult thing to do. Oh yeah, very hard.
It's hard to do well. It's really easy to just, MMA, it's constantly dealing with that, where there's always some guy who wants to be a heel, but he's just kind of dumb. So they just kind of are an asshole rather than a heel. And it's difficult, but if you can pull it off well, man, it pays off.
Yeah, no. And again, I just think that Optic, they're this big FPS third-person, this is a big shooter organization, especially on console. So why should you care about Optic in Dota? You have to build rivalries for people to care. Look at Overwatch League. They did a great job with that in the first week.
Yeah,
and they had it already set up. But so point being is that low-hanging fruit there, but there's low-hanging fruit here. Somebody just needs to grab it and pull.
Yep.
So that's that.
Aiming for you. Everybody needs to get their shit together. Valve needs to probably needs to do something. They should have done something a while ago. It's not good. But it's done now, and everybody kind of looks bad for it. That also.
Everybody looks a different level of bad.
Yeah, everybody looks bad for different reasons, except for Animal Planet. They just
Animal Planet just looks like, well, shit, we screwed up. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
So props to them.
On the note of Animal Planet, the other big news of this week is, as we previously touched upon with Universe joining Fnatic, it's roster shakeup season again. And we've had a few different teams form or get blown up in the last week or so. We touched upon a couple of them in our last episode, which you should check out, and also like, comment, subscribe, and thumbs up and everything else. With Animal Planet, new North American team made up of Ritsu, Moon Meander, Aoi 2000, Kitrak, and Bryle. That's the big North American team to come out of it. There's also a pretty compelling European stack in Team World, which is made up of Anna, Farev, SVG, Saxa, and MSS. Or no, not MSS. Kaiser.
Kaiser, who is actually really good. One of the guys that I enjoyed watching back when he was on Team Pro Dota. But with that said, Animal Planet, they're they were that group of guys where they were trying to kind of be sellswords, so to speak.
Yeah.
In the first half, where they're like, okay, well, I didn't get a team. Like, does anybody need a coach? Does anybody need an analyst? Does anybody need a sub? That didn't work. So these guys kind of put it together. Kitrak's the team captain.
Yep.
It'll be a decent team. I mean, outside of Bryle, I've seen all these guys play, and they're all pretty good. But
yeah, I mean, Anna obviously had a really good run with OG.
Oh yeah, and then Team World obviously also looks very strong.
Yeah, Farev And he got bumped from or left Immortals, not really clear, but still he has made it work on high-end teams in the past. Probably going to do the same again. Soxa was part of the 2016 Digital Chaos. Very good. MSS, I think his last really good run in a pro team was Team MP / Cloud9. Yeah, he was on Team NP before they got blown up. Yeah, he had a very good run there, all things considered. And yeah, it's a good lineup of players, and I could see them doing some good stuff. I'd see that. And over in China, the biggest, there hasn't been too much in the way of Chinese shakeups, but the big one I would say would be the new Big God team. That is, Zhao 8's Expendables, basically.
But really, though, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's a bunch of old quote unquote veteran Chinese players in Burning, Ferrari, Zhao 8, Chisbug, and a guy named Newbie, not to be confused with the team Newbie. Chisbug, former OG guy or IG guy, former LGD guy, former Newbie guy, former White Fries guy. He's one of those guys who ends up everywhere at some point.
Yep. So outside of Newbie, because he doesn't have a page on Team Liquid, the youngest guy on the team. Oh, Chisbug does not have a birthday registered. So between Burning, Ferrari, and Zhao 8, the youngest guy is 27.
Yeah, then that's so old for Dota.
They are old fogies as far as at least some SEA Dota is concerned. Everybody else is starting to get up there, though. So
yeah,
Dota's turning into an old man's game,
which is nice as an old man. But that's the biggest team out of China. And in other news, Sacred, the South American team that was formed from it's Peru stack. It was formed from the remnants of a few other teams because, my God, South America is just a clusterfuck right now of teams forming and then breaking up and then getting shuffled together. But it was the former Digital Chaos South America / White Dragons team. They have reportedly disbanded. They got a spot in the summit and they got their shit kicked in. So not really super surprising. But, they, I guess, won a qualifier at some point. So ultimately, Sacred's gone. So there's once again a new stack that is probably going to win a qualifier or two and pop up in a minor and then lose in the first round. So that's what's going on with Dota 2 rosters. Is there anything else that we want to talk about?
Not really. No, we've got some Bucharest major finals going on right now. VGJ.Storm and Immortals are playing game 2 of their best of 3. The winner of this plays Optic.
Yeah, and I guess
I beat both of these teams before, so.
Yeah, and the ESL 1 Katowice qualifiers are completely wrapped up now. Oh wait, no. Well, yeah, the qualifiers are wrapped up. There is still one outstanding spot in the tournament. Europe, the qualifiers were won by OG and Kingwin. That's really great for Kingwin because they have been one of the more interesting teams in the season thus far because they kind of came out of nowhere. And now they get the opportunity to be the hometown favorites in Poland. It's a Polish team playing in Poland, so got to imagine that they're going to be...
That's about a plus 500 on your... on I don't know which stat roll that would be, but that community... Polish fans absolutely go bananas for their teams. I mean, Virtus Pro...
In CSGO.
The Polish Virtus Pro. I don't think they've lost a major in Katowice. Maybe they have, but I mean, it certainly feels like... Or when Navi plays in Ukraine, that's another example of like... Just the entire country is just like, give you our energy. And it works.
Yeah. CIS was won by Effect Gaming. A little bit of a surprise there because Empire was participating. Vega Squadron was participating. Spirit has looked good of late and was in there, but ultimately gets won by Effect. American qualifier North American qualifier, is Complexity. Really good time for them. Infamous is your South American qualifier. LGD Gaming, really good time for them to get a tournament win after their team basically imploded just ahead of New Year. And your Southeast Asian qualifier is Fnatic. And we're going to get a taste of the Universe Fnatic right around that time. So, yeah, that's the episode, right?
Yep, that's the episode.
All right, everybody like, comment, and subscribe. We didn't get too rambly. We didn't get too tangential. And, yeah, that's the end of the episode. Everybody like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on Twitter. It's in the description, etc., etc. You know the drill. Have a great weekend.